Okay, hello and welcome to the first Gotham Sound live stream of 2016. I'm here with David Schwartz, sound mixer from The Town, from the last two Woody Allen movies, and from John Wick 2.
John Wick 2.
John Wick 2. Dave, thank you so much for being here. This is a part of our new series that we're trying out. We're calling it Off Mic.
Well, thanks for having me and trying it out on me.
Very good. Well, one of the reasons we want to do this is we want our customers to kind of share their wealth of knowledge and share their stories, because that's how we all kind of learn from each other. So, anyway, without further ado, tell me a little bit about the kind of sound you do.
All right. Well, I'm mainly a feature sound mixer, as you just read off in a couple of my most recent credits. I work in features ranging anywhere from the lower budget tier ones up into bigger budget majors. I'm a union mixer, so that's my main bread and butter is working on feature films. Every once in a while, maybe a commercial or something else here and there, but yeah, mainly narrative features.
Cool. And how did you get into sound? How did you start?
Make brevity my friend here. I went to film school just for general film education, everything from screenwriting to cinematography to editing. And probably around my junior year was when sound became a necessity in our classes. And we were shooting 16mm film and recording on a Nagra. And I was one of the few students who actually paid attention and cared about properly recording on the Nagra. Everything from loading the 12D batteries to stringing the tape properly to getting decent levels and using the phase flip cable. Anyway. So yeah, students started asking me to do their student films for them. And competition got so fierce, people were offering me beers and pizza to do it. And then eventually I did sound on a thesis film. I boomed on a thesis film, and that mixer taught me on his equipment. And then I took a sound design course and in my senior year, and that really nailed it for me, just the creativity you could have with sound, be it on location or in post-production. Really nailed it for me, and right when I graduated, that's what I jumped into doing. And
did you do anything more with sound design?
I had a company with a business partner for a couple of years. We did lower budget short films and some features and some documentaries. We did everything from dialogue editing, dialogue restoration, sound effects recording, sound effects editing, and of course sound design. Even a little bit of music here and there. My business partner, he had some talent in that arena. But yeah, well, we kept it small because we knew enough to know that we didn't know that much.
You knew just enough to be dangerous.
Correct.
Right. And do you think that, but you haven't done that in a while?
No.
Okay. Do you think that has been helpful in your career as a narrative mixer?
Absolutely. Working on doing post audio on not only my own audio, but on other mixers' audio, really helped me learn my mistakes on set and their mistakes on set, and being able to take that experience and bring it back onto location, learning exactly why I need room tone for this scene, learning why I don't need room tone for this scene, really helps me pick my battles on set, and knowing when a generator is too close or and any type of incidental noise, what can pass and what doesn't pass, and little tricks to help post with Band-Aids and stuff like that. Yeah, my minimal post background has definitely helped me be a more comfortable and knowledgeable location mixer.
Cool. And was there any particular aspect of that, any program that you used or anything that really, anything particular that you noticed? It's a terrible question. I'm not wording it very well. Anything particular about that, or just in general being able to dive in and work with the tracks?
I don't know your question.
I don't know my question either. Skip it. Yeah, it made no sense at all. I don't know where I was going with that at all.
I use programs if you want me to name drop programs.
No,
okay.
It's okay. It's fine. I mean, people know about Pro Tools and other things.
I have a small computer with me on set, and I have an audio restoration program on that computer. And every once in a while, if I encounter a questionable environment, I'll bounce it directly onto the computer, and when I have a 5-minute break or so, I'll play around with noise removal and spectral repair and stuff like that to see if I can actually, if I can get rid of it, if I can clean it up where I'm happy within 5 minutes, I know post, they can work wonders with it. And it'll make me, it won't change how we're shooting, but it will actually make me more confident, make me more comfortable as the day goes on, and I'll be able to sleep better at night.
Cool. All right, that's awesome. I did not know that.
Yeah, I keep that in my drawer on my cart.
So just a little laptop with.
Yeah, a little laptop with. I use it. I have a couple of different audio programs on it, either for using LecNet for the venue or Zax Convert for my Zaxcom stuff. Then I'll also have you have audio restoration programs as well.
Oh, that's perfect. So tell me a little bit about your kit. What do you have in it? Why did you pick it? Anything that's like interesting that you think that not everybody has, but they should definitely have.
Well, I have a custom-built cart. I couldn't find an off-the-shelf cart that I was really happy with, so I designed and built one with a friend of mine, and we're still working on it. But the brains of the system is a Zaxcom Fusion 12. And in my bag, I have a Diva 5.8. And then on the cart, I have the Mix 12 with the Fusion 12, and I have Electro Venue for all my talent mics. And then all my boom operators, they have the Zaxcom TRX 742s. And I'm using ZaxNet to put them into record and stop, and also to have gain control. And then boom ops are wearing R1A, Electro R1A IFBs. And all my producers and director and script supervisor are also on Electro. Everyone's on the same block, and they're just separated by frequencies.
And just to go back to Zaxxon, is there anything, because you mentioned to me before we were talking, you were doing something to kind of beef up ZaxNet to give you a little bit more range. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
The antenna specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah, I started with the ZaxNet Rubber Ducky, and then I tried a couple of different antennas from different websites, and I came across I feel like a salesman, but I came across the RF Venue CP beam, and I found that without using an amplifier, that has been my best use of ZaxNet so far. Where I'm getting the most range and the most dependability, where I'll know that I can shoot through a couple of walls or be on a very large soundstage and be able to get the information back and forth to the transceivers, I guess.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. And then what are you using for mics on the boom?
My main workhorse are Sanken the CS3E. Big fan of that microphone. It can make a medium wide shot sound like a close-up. I'm very happy with it. It helps with unpredictable camera moves. You can go from being very close to pretty far in bad acoustics and have good success with it. But yeah, I still use my Sheps. I have several Sheps, and I have Sennheiser MKH50 and the 8050. Those are also fantastic mics. And then my talent mics are mainly Sanken Cas 11s, but I've been using B6s every once in a while for, it's a necessary tool in my toolbox.
Right. Yeah, like if you've got a really difficult outfit and you just have to
hide it,
poke it out somewhere.
Yeah, either poke it out somewhere or hide it. The thin cable really helps, And just on my last movie, I worked with wardrobe department, and we were able to sew the B6 in seams of different outfits.
Right.
So we had several different outfits, be it a Henley just like this one, or a tie, or a button down, and all those different shirts were mic'd up already. And then we would decide, based on what scene it was, the actor would put that shirt on already pre-wired, and we would just pop the transmitter on them.
And was that something where they were wearing the same shirt for the most of the film?
Yeah, this last movie had a lot of repeat wardrobe, so it was very easy to know on a day-to-day basis what outfit it was going to be. If you guessed the suit, it was pretty much, you were right 99% of the time.
Right.
But we did wire up all the other outfits as well, just in case we had to do another scene on the fly.
Right. And that was a specially long B6 that you got for that, right?
Yeah, we bought, we had production actually buy us 2 7-foot B6s in order to be able to go from here on the Henley. I'm not going to touch the microphone. You can go here on the Henley and go up and then into the shoulder seam and then down and then get sewn, and then it would exit right here. So the normal length microphone cables just weren't long enough.
Right.
They would stop right here on the ankle, and our actor wanted an ankle pack, and I'm I'm perfectly happy with that. Those are my favorites. So I convinced production to get us some 7-footers. So even though we had a little bit of extra slack here, it helped for some action scenes and for moving around, and that way the actor never felt he was being compromised by a shorter cable.
Cool. And so anything in your kit that you see that like people just should have it, like people that want to be mixing big features, they should definitely have this in their kit because it comes up often.
Oh, that's a great question. You didn't ask me this one. Problem-solving tools. If the first thing I can think of, honestly, is rain gear. Have a raincoat and rain pants and rain shoes. If you're wet, you're going to be miserable. That's just common sense, but you see a lot of that not happening properly. I like fun tools that make me feel less hindered and more creative to problem solving. We can't tell the camera operators where to put the camera. They basically, based on the frame, tell us where we can put the microphones. But having, be it Peter Eng, am I pronouncing his name right? Be it an Omni Goose for a car rig or a podium mic, or a properly used cub on a table, or get some Joe Sticky stuff and slap it up against a TV, and you get an actor walking by, and that line you couldn't get 30 seconds ago, you now got. Those are all great things to have, and having them not just in your kit, but easily accessible has always been important, because saying, oh, I can get the cub, but we're going to shoot in 10 seconds, that means nothing.
Right.
So I'm always a fan of having like an extra Sheps rigged up on a gooseneck mic, and then have an Omni Goose ready to go, and have a short boom pole ready to go. That way, if you need it, you just pop a mic on it, or the mic's already on, you go.
Right. And there's a stash mic in the plant. There's on the wall, whatever.
Yeah. And I always have on my patch bay on the back of my cart, I always have a Phantom Power XOR input ready to go. That way, if everything goes bad, we can just plug in a hardwire XOR and we're good to go, be it for a plant mic or for the boom mic.
Right.
It's always ready.
So if RF goes crazy, you're ready.
We got a 100-footer, just plug it in, boom, you're good.
Nice.
Done.
Cool. And what was the latest thing you purchased? I remember you were talking about something. What was that?
At the end of the year, tax break season. We're all trying to figure out what we want to spend our money on. It came down to, should I talk about the competition, what it came down to?
Yeah, go for it.
It came down to either going with the newer Zaxcom RX12, starting the transition to talent body packs for Zaxcom, or it came into the old Comtech with the Invisity Phonak earpieces. And I decided that I am several years too late in getting the earpieces, the Phonaks, and I felt like this is a necessary part of my kit. I've been doing very well with everything I have up until now. I don't need to make this major transition just yet. And I know I probably won't use the Comtech or the Invisities just yet in my next movie or even the one after that. I know that they're very important, and having it will just make my toolbox more prepared.
So what do you use them for when you get called to use them for?
It would either be for talent cueing, or it would be for scenes where the talent either didn't have time to memorize their dialogue, or there were major script revisions and they couldn't. And we could have someone talking into a push-to-talk mic into the earpiece in order to feed the talent lines. It could be for scenes where we're doing phone Skype or FaceTime or whatever you call it, and actors actually need to hear themselves in real time without the delay. Sending that type of audio back and forth. I found in a couple of Skype scenes has been very handy.
Nice, cool, all right. So tell me about a teachable moment that you've experienced on set. Like what happened and what did you learn from that?
Where did we, teachable moment?
And actually, here, why don't I ask another question? Because there are people watching.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, hi. And people have questions. So Steve McCreary wants to know, he said, you mentioned room tone. Can you give an example of when you wouldn't need to record room tone? Is it just when the scene or shot calls for MOS, or is there another reason?
All right, well, I always try and look at the dialogue within the scene. Hi, Steve. And if there's enough spaces for an editor to pull room tone, and I'm comfortable with it while we're shooting it through the day, then I won't force the issue. I find on some movies, the pace lets you get room tone for every scene, and that's fantastic. If you can get room tone for every scene in every room, great, do it. But if we're moving so fast that every time you get room tone, someone grumbles and everyone's looking at their watches and you become the enemy on set because you're asking for room tone all the time, then it turns into pick your battles. And if you find there's enough spaces in between lines and words where post can recreate a good room tone, a good 10 to 20 seconds, then I'm all for it, and I move along. I really don't worry about it. If I find that the room tone's really interesting, like a hissing pipe or a running computer or something like that, then I'll even go up to the AD ahead of time and I'll say, we're gonna want room tone on this one. I try and not make it be a surprise, especially on the bigger budget movies where I find that ADs and producers and directors aren't used to getting room tone as much. And when I do ask for it, they're like, oh, you want that old thing? Yeah, I do. And I'm going to tell you 2 hours before I want it that I want it. I'm going to keep reminding you, and we'll take it at the end.
Cool. Awesome. So, and also somebody said your opinion about off-camera dialogue recording. What's your opinion about recording off-camera dialogue?
I try and double boom as much as possible with matching mics, and I try and get as much off-camera dialogue as possible. Absolutely. From a post standpoint, I feel it is a very valuable tool where they can pull words and lines and syllables from the off-camera dialogue to help clean up the on-camera dialogue that maybe had a car honk or a dog bark or someone dropped their keys or cued their walkie or something. So it's valuable there. It's also valuable in dailies where the directors and the producers aren't just watching the performance of the person on camera, they're watching the performance of the person off camera. And if they like that delivery, they're going to want to use it in the movie even if the camera's not on them. And I've been asked specifically, please get it because we're going to do some interesting editing here and we want to make sure everybody's on mic all the time. So if I can't get a boom in there, then I'll put a wireless mic on or even a plant. I'm all for getting off-camera lens.
Awesome. Yeah, and it makes watching the dailies so much more enjoyable too. You know, you can actually hear what the other half of the conversation is.
Absolutely. And you never want a director or producer coming up to you and saying, hey, listen, I really like that guy's performance off camera, but it sounded like it was 10 feet away from the boom. Do you have it on a wireless? And you answer, no, sorry. And they don't have that performance anymore.
Right.
If you have the manpower and you have the gear, get it because it'll only make you not only look better, but sound better.
Right. Cool. And Steven says, thank you.
You're welcome, Steven.
So one of the things, so we were talking about with the Teachable moment before was you mentioned like where you learned that you really needed to manage or kind of AD the film for the sound department.
Okay, so you're talking about the experience.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And keep it vague. Don't mention the movie.
Yeah, I won't. Sometimes you get comfortable in protocol. You get comfortable with block, light, shoot. You get comfortable with, you watch blocking, and then after the blocking, you discuss with your team who needs to be wired, if anybody needs to be wired, how they're going to boom it, and then you decide. You go up to the AD department and you say, we're going to wire these people. We're going to wire all of them or just one person, and that AD will go to the wardrobe department or spread it out throughout the AD department that these people will be wired, and then you get used to the protocol. And on this specific movie that I think we're talking about, it had been set up where I would tell the AD who needed to be wired, and then the talent would either be brought to me for wiring, or myself and my boom operator, my third, we would get escorted to holding and we would wire up the talent there. It just so happened this was a huge wedding scene. Probably had about 5 or 6 people that needed to be wired that were all wearing tuxedos or taffeta dresses and the big wedding gown and everything. Complicated wiring. Right. And I told the AD we needed to wire everybody, and it was going to be a long, arduous process because of the outfits. And my team and I, we were all prepared to go. And we're waiting, and we're waiting. And all of a sudden, I hear the AD call for talent on set. And talent gets brought to set, and I go up to the AD and I say, what happened? They were supposed to be brought to us for wiring, and he apologizes to me face to face, but then says wire them as quickly as possible. So as we're wiring them as quickly as possible, the director starts yelling through the voice of God, what's going on? Why aren't we shooting? It's a big wedding scene, cameras are everywhere. And the first AD, instead of defending me, basically just says, sound is now wiring. The director says, why didn't they do it before? Long story short, director yells through the voice of God, his sound department isn't done wiring in 30 seconds, I'm going to fire all of them. That made me nervous, that made me angry, it made me upset. We finished the best we could, we got the scene, it was done. the AD came up to me and apologized to me, and it's too late by then. I wouldn't. But I guess the example is you get comfortable in the protocol, but then all of a sudden it bites you in the butt because everything's supposed to run a certain way, but it doesn't. And I learned then that you can't just get too comfortable and casual with the way things are supposed to go. Keep an eye open, keep an ear open. If things are taking a little bit too long, maybe remind the AD department, hey, we're still standing by the wire. And maybe they'll say, oh my God, we totally forgot, go, 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 instead of just waiting for them to mess up, which in turn will look bad upon you.
Right. Cool. So yeah, so you're managing your own department, even though it's somebody else's job. You're kind of keeping an eye on that to make sure that your stuff gets done. Yeah, it's filmmaking. We're all working together, and we're all not only helping each other out, but without intentionally doing it, we could also be messing each other up. Right. And getting too comfortable with the way things run will only make you sloppy. Yeah. Cool. All right. Let me just check the little question thing. Also, the person who wanted your opinion about off-camera dialogue said, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so last question from me. Just tell me a funny story from your life in sound. Could be anything.
The funniest one I can think of right now is I was doing the latter part of a documentary about building a boat. It was all about a guy who built his own sailboat by hand, a beautiful wooden sailboat. And we were down, this was up in Boston, we were down at the marina for the launching of the boat. And we're shooting on film. We're shooting on I don't even remember anymore.
16 something?
It was Super 16. Aton. It was an Aton.
Okay. And, XTR something?
Yeah. And so I got the Smart Slate, and I'm wearing a bag, and I got my HHB DAT right here. I got my SQN 4S3A over here, and I got the Smart Slate over here, and we're slating everything, and we're shooting, we're reloading every 7 minutes or so, and we're running all over the place. And my bag is so big, I can't see in front of my belly, and it's a huge thing. And we're running from one side of the dock to the other, and I think they call it a mooring cleat. It was in the ground. I don't know exactly what they use it for, but it's a huge boat cleat, and I couldn't see it over my belly, and as we're moving from one dock to another, I trip on the mooring cleat, and I got my boom pole in my hand, and it's attached with a coily cable, and I'm going down on my belly, and I know I'm gonna land on my belly on all the gear. So I throw the boom pole away in order to put my hands in front of me, and as I'm falling, the boom pole comes back and smacks me in the face. And then I land on my hands and roll over my back, and I'm in a puddle. And I look up, and the HHB is still rolling, my glasses aren't crooked, still rolling, and I'm like a turtle on its back. I can't get up. And I had to have people come and help me up, and everyone asked if I'm all right, and my glasses are broken. And yeah, all the gear remained working, and you got to give it up for those companies that made solid equipment.
Yeah. So you sacrificed yourself and saved the gear.
Yeah, I did.
But those SQNs, man, those were bulletproof.
They are. Yeah, that was. I definitely enjoyed that piece of equipment.
Cool. All right. Well, let's see. Here's one more.
Okay.
What is your opinion and approach about the mix track?
My opinion about the mix track is, I come from. When I started in film school, I was on a mono Nagra, and then when I started mixing features, it was either on a mono or stereo Nagra, or on a stereo DAT. So for me, the mix track is gospel. It's very important. Even on the bigger movies, part of me, the cynical part, thinks that they're not going to use it. So at the very least, I'm giving them a template for what I want to be in the movie. At the very best, they're going to use it. Yeah. I know with multi-tracking, they're going to make a better mix than I am most of the time, but I want to give them the best darn template possible. Yeah. And I want to give them the best darn dailies mix possible. Am I going to mix it super hot and put a compressor on it? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make that mistake. But I am going to give it a decent level, and I'm going to do my darn best to make sure that it's audible, that there's not too much phasing going in, and that everybody who I want to be heard is heard. Right. And that my track is reflecting what the shot is. And then, I completely agree with you, because that's what the producers, directors, editors, everybody hears until it gets to sound post. Correct. So you don't want somebody kvetching about, oh, that sound mixer, this is a terrible mix, what are we going to do? And then everything's fine on the tracks. You want it to actually be
great.
Yeah, your mix track is going to speak for you all the way through to audio post.
Yeah, cool. All right, very good. Dave, thank you so much. You were brilliant and radiant.
Oh, thank you.
And wonderful. So thank you so much for being here. Next week, you can watch this video and others again at vimeo.com/GothamSound. Next week, Tuesday, January 12th, we will have Carl Winkler from Lectrosonics, and he has the new HMA that he'll be bringing with him. Thank you very much. Oh, and if you have any ideas, email info@gothamsound.com.